Good evening, football fans. How we doing tonight? I am Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy, and welcome to Thursday Night Gridiron. I am joined by this esteemed panel. Are they really that esteemed?
Esteemed. How'd you come up with that word?
Royal would have been better.
What was that?
I would say
Royal.
misfits. I would say misfits, if anything.
I am joined with Lawrence Patchman Lang, Danny Boy Reginald, and Mark's old ops guy Halpern, and welcome to the Week 3 edition of Thursday Night Gridiron on the Sports Insanity Network. Gentlemen, how we doing this evening?
Well, it's been a
Having
long day
a,
at work.
I
Happy to be
just
here, though.
finished. Uh, I'm great to be here. I just finished walking the dog. The kids are taking care of the dog right now, so I could be live. Isn't that great?
Are we ever going to have the dog here on the podcast?
He made a Sunday sideline premiere, and she's also has Summer's picks, which will be getting ready to record a new episode tomorrow night for Patch to get ready to upload Saturday.
I got another video
Yeah.
for you to upload. I have another video of yours I need to upload I forgot about, but we'll take care of that after the show.
Okay, so anyway, we got a great matchup for you tonight. It's an AFC East rivalry. We got the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. I know, isn't it so exciting?
It actually is. These two teams will always play themselves toughly, especially in a division rivalry this tight.
Okay, so but before we get to any of that, last week we had a really big injury in the NFL. Excuse me.
No dying
Joe
on,
Burrow was injured last week.
no dying on air, Bill.
Thank you for the support patch.
You're welcome. But yes, Joe Burrow is out with turf toe.
With turf toe, he's going to be out for at least 3 months. This is going to be a big problem for the Bengals. Would you guys agree? Disagree? Shut up, Bill.
It is another blow to a Bengals team that cannot just catch a break anymore. Because we want Joe Burrow to be healthy. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. He's coming in to save what is probably I wouldn't say poverty franchise in the Cincinnati Bengals, but a Cincinnati Bengals team and organization that's been struggling for years. Finally get a quarterback in Joe Burrow, and they can't protect Joe Burrow at all to keep him healthy. He either goes down with a shoulder injury, knee injury, now turf toe. He gets a concussion, maybe one here or there, but it's like it's like there's a hex on this Bengals organization where they can't get over that hump with Joe Burrow and keep Joe Burrow healthy. And it's just a struggle with them because now you can fall into the subject of it was paying Joe Burrow worth it. He's
Yeah,
always
that's the
injured.
problem. Was paying Burrow the money worth it? Mark, what are your takes on all this?
It's unfortunate to see him go down yet again for a couple of reasons. One, he's on one of my fantasy teams, so that really did not help. But two, everyone was expecting such a big year from him, especially after the disappointing season last year due to injury yet again. Patch touched on it perfectly. They cannot protect him. And yeah, it's turf toe, but it's to a severe extent that it's going to keep him out 3 months. The likelihood of being back this season is not out, but if anything, he would be back in time for the playoffs if Jake Browning can get them there.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. Because Browning had a not a great first outing, but he had a decent one with 21, 32, 241 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that is, Jake Browning can possibly lead this team maybe to a playoff run. I have no idea. But like here's the thing, and I said this, and I want to ask these esteemed gentlemen. I made if when I said about coaches on the hot seat, I put Zach Taylor at number one. Now that Burrow's injured, is his seat heating up, or they just bought him, or that just bought him another year?
You can't blame Burrow's injury on him. That's just not fair. Is he going to be on the hot seat if the Bengals have a horrible year? Yeah, of course. But Jake Browning has been in the league. He's he's gonna show what he can do. And he's got a good team to be able to work with. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have talent. He's got Chase and Higgins. He's got Chase Brown and Samaje Perine. The line is where of what it comes down to. This offensive line has to step up its play because right behind him is Brett Rippon, and he has not had much NFL time at all.
Yes. So, yeah, I think this is going to be I think this is going to be tough for the Bengals because, like I said, now that you don't have your top quarterback, you know what, Patch, do you think Taylor's seat has heated up now with Burrow's injury?
Who's
Zach Taylor, the Bengals coach, do you think his seat has now heated up?
I, I wouldn't say yes or no. It's probably more of a limbo thing because the injury that happened to Burrow was a bang bang play where his big toe just happened to bend 90 degrees backwards.
Oof.
Not to give a disgusting imaging
No,
or
it's
The
just
people are trying to keep their dinners down here, Patch.
I could care less. They're trying to keep their dinner down. Regardless, I'm going to be blunt with that. I don't care. Sorry for having a weak stomach, people. But
we
no,
appreciate your honesty here on the Sports Insanity Network. We're promoters of that here. We promote honesty.
I always promote. I agree with you. I'd rather be honest than a liar. But his job's in limbo right now because the injury happens. It's a bang bang play. Okay, Joe Burrow's out again. It's not on him that Burrow got hurt because injuries happen at any time in the NFL. In any sport, it happens in the NHL, MLB, NBA, MLS, La Liga League. If you want to get over in the international territory with soccer, or over there people call it football. But you have to see now what he does with his backup quarterback in Jake Browning. Yeah, you just got to wait. It's a wait and see game now. If the Bengals can start winning with Browning at QB1, his job is safe. If the Bengals make the playoffs, his job is safe. If the Bengals, finish 8-9 or 7-10, right? 7-10. Does that math out right? Something like that. Yeah, 7-10. Math. Yay. His job should be safe because you can't fire. So I would say you can't fire somebody because your QB1 went down and you're forced to use your backup. It's probably happened in the NFL before if we look at history. But in today's game, you can't just fire him because the QB1 went down. You got to see how he does now with the backup because we've seen coaches many a times, when their QB1 goes down or other quarterbacks that get suspended for deflation still thrive with their backup quarterbacks. So, yeah. Matt LaFleur did it last year. The year before with, Malik Willis, when Love went down with the injury for a couple of weeks, the Packers still won all their football games. LaFleur's a great coach. So, a great coach can win with a quarterback. We saw with Bill Belichick many moons ago when Brady got his 4-game suspension with
Garoppolo.
Garoppolo was Garoppolo backed up for the first 3 games. Then Garoppolo went down. Then they had to go to Jacoby Brissett for a game. And the Patriots almost won with Jacoby Brissett. As the QB3, that became the QB1. So it all depends how he can coach Jake Browning into hopefully a winning quarterback for the next couple months while Joe Burrow recovers.
Very nicely
so
put.
To say if he's on the hot seat, you really can't say he's on the hot seat right now because from now until the Burrow comeback happens, now he begins that journey of, okay, is this job safe? If not safe, you just can't instantly put him on that hot seat.
No, absolutely. Right, Reg, what do you think?
What do I think about what?
Hey, there he is.
I,
With Burrow's injury, is Zach Taylor's seat heating up, or he has saved himself a year?
That's a tough one. Because here's the thing.
The thing.
He may get a pass because of it. That's the crazy part, you know?
That is the crazy part, Reggie.
So it depends on what happens. If it's a colossal failure, I don't know. Because then they can make the argument, well, we didn't have our star quarterback.
That is true, my friend.
That's a tough argument to try to beat, you know? But then at the same time, if you're as good as you say you are, you can take any quarterback and be at the very least mediocre. And then obviously the best you can be is one of the best in the NFL. So let's see. I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Okay. Well, now it's time to go on for tonight's matchup. Patch, a nice wholesome game of football, right?
well, either that or to the viewers of South Park out there, it's either going to be a really good football game or it's going to be the analogy the South Park fan base did the South Park creators did a couple years ago with the Dolphins becoming sushi. We'll put it that way.
So
people know the episode I'm talking about.
I think I might. But today we got a divisional matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. So we all know Mike Rifkin and Nate Moser are going to be strangling each other tonight.
That's why they're both not here, because they're probably watching the game in a lockdown bunker somewhere.
In their respective corners.
Singing Kumbaya.
And we don't feel like ripping them off each other tonight, so they're not here. Anyway, okay, so last year they played each other twice. On September 12th, the Bills beat the Dolphins 31-10, and on November 3rd, the Bills beat the Dolphins again 30-27. And now both of them getting off of division matchups. The Bills beating, sorry, Reggie's beloved New York Jets. Josh Allen went 14 for 25, 148 yards. And not one of his best outings, but James Cook, 21 carries, 132 yards, 6.3 average, and 2 touchdowns. And the Dolphins losing to the Patriots 33-27. The Tua went 26 for 32, 315 yards. Helps my fantasy team. Thanks, Tua. And 2 touchdowns, but was sacked 5 times. Okay, we're going to start with the Dolphins here. Let's start with the Dolphins here. What has gone wrong in these first 2 weeks?
Pretty much everything. Their inability to run the ball, their inability to protect Tua, and that's just on the offensive part. The defense has looked worse than the Giants and the Cowboys did last week. So the defense has not played good football either. This is a team that went from preseason ups to absolute Rick Zolder shout out caca overnight.
You look at the Dolphins offense right now. For 2 games, only 139 yards total in rushing and only 461 yards in the receiving core. Like, the Dolphins run game is, as Lobsky put it, it's caca right now. To quote the great Rick Zolzer, it's caca right now. And when you have a great running back in HN, who usually gets it going early in the season and then, obviously the Dolphins are not saying the Dolphins are the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are still subpar. You still got Achane producing to try to keep the Dolphins in it, and I think he's only produced 85 yards so far on the season, and that's really low for a great running back in Achane.
And then the receiving production isn't that great either. They had a better week against the Patriots, but ultimately, bad quarterback play, bad coaching, no production, and then of course the defense is it's getting lit up like crazy. So it's a combination of just everything going awfully wrong that has contributed to such a rough start for the Dolphins. And look, 2 weeks in, it's fine. But then, of course, you got to turn it around for Thursday. Like, not easy to do in those scenarios.
Also, Dolphins run game, no touchdowns.
Crazy. How's that
Yeah.
possible?
Dolphins rushing, no touchdowns through 2 games.
And they're averaging just 3.1 yards per carry in receiving. They're 26th in yards and 32nd in points. So this team is a mess.
It should be the first team to go 0-3 on the season. However, this is a divisional rival. They play each other well. And as Bill read off the scores from last year, they lost last year. I mean, Bill being a top team at that point, only by 3. So Miami knows how to play them. It's just a question is, will it happen tonight?
Okay. Now, okay, who is on the hot seat? Tua or Mike McDaniel?
It's both of them.
Okay.
It is really both of them. If Mike McDaniel can't find a way to get this team back to 500, they start the season 0-3. His seat's lighted. His firecracker, whatever you want to call it, the firecracker's lit, and it might be time to blow up Miami. And Tua, and it's no offense to Tua, he has a concussion problem, and that's been a factor the last couple seasons. You know, we saw it last year. He got hit once and he was done. He was done for a while.
Yeah,
and it sucks because Tua's. I like Tua a lot. He's a great left-handed quarterback. A left-handed quarterback in the league is like a unicorn. It's mythical sometimes to not see one for a while, and Tua might just be in a situation where we've seen it with other quarterbacks. He just maybe needs to get out and go somewhere else and thrive. And it's a reflection of Mike McDaniel, because Mike McDaniel's had him for, I think, his entire career, if I'm not mistaken. Couple seasons.
Like I think
Couple
this is
season.
third season, fourth season, I forget. But like, yeah, and you're right, because with all these concussions happening, it's because of the play call. It's because of the system that they're running in Miami that is supposedly geared towards his ability, but he keeps getting hurt. Now, again, so far so good.
And also now Tua's kind of in a little bit of a hot seat himself for comments made earlier in the week. If people didn't pay attention to the media this week, he was doing his medium quorum, and then he says he wishes he can do half the things other quarterbacks can do.
Oh, so that's like him admitting.
So it's him admitting that I wouldn't say he's not progressing in the NFL, but it's saying that he can't be on the level as other quarterbacks. So now now it's like, is Tua in the hot seat? Is Tua really that good? And can Tua still keep a QB1 job?
Now that is a fair point.
With Zach Wilson waiting right in the wings, and I saw Dan's little smirk there where there was mention of Zach.
Jets legend,
Dan,
Zach
Dan
Wilson.
has some Jets legend, yeah. No, with Zach Wilson waiting in the wings, I'm telling you, if Tua comes out with another first half bad performance, I would not be surprised to see Zach Wilson start the second half.
It's not going to make Dolphins fans happy. I'll tell you that much because they seen the horror stories of Zach Wilson. You know, but I will say this about Zach. Look, he obviously wasn't great for the Jets, and I will admit to that. Like, even though I believed there was some ability, ultimately he didn't prove himself. You never know. Maybe one play or two you can build his confidence a bit. So it's always good to have him ready to go.
I think Mike McDaniel is on the hotter seat, to be honest, because listen, okay, first two seasons, winning seasons, and the first two seasons you both got into the playoffs, but they got bounced in the first round both times. They both lost in the wild card both times.
Who did they lose
So
to?
one they lost to Buffalo. I'll check
Buffalo.
who the
Buffalo's a way better team. Miami could probably keep themselves in it, but Buffalo is the way better team. When you come in as like that second wild card, you're it's basically like a feeding to the Lions sometimes. No pun intended with the Lions being mentioned.
No, the first time they lost to Buffalo, the second time they lost to KC.
Once again, a way better team.
So
Like,
I think, in my humble opinion, I think McDaniel's on the hot seat right now. He's on the hot, like his seat's. If they go, and this goes into the next question, which is basically the same question. Thanks, Mike Rifkin. Um, Owen, if they go 0-3, is it time to blow things up?
it, it it's not time to blow things up. It's hit the panic button. Hit the panic
I
button a
think
little bit, or maybe hit like the alarm. Hit the alarm before you hit the panic. Hit the alarm saying, okay, hey, all eyes on everybody this year. And then if they go 0-4, you hit the panic button, and then week 5 you blow it up if they're 0-5. If they start the season 0-5, panic button, McDaniel's out, and then you start maybe looking at shopping Tua at the end of the season to another team.
it's time to sound the alarm.
Yeah. Hotter seat, definitely McDaniel, because even in the year where the Dolphins did fairly well, they didn't get far into the postseason, and the goal is always to win. It's not to be a first round exit. So if that has been the case, and then on top of that, they have a horrible season last year, and then now they're starting off bad. Well, it's a track record. And
Well,
then,
that's
yeah, and then of course for Tua, I really think, and I say this with respect, I think Tua needs to go somewhere else to be inspired. I don't think he's inspired by Miami anymore, and I could be dead wrong in 2 weeks, but right now, like where where's the inspiration? Where's that grit to being successful? Where's that going to come from?
yeah. Where is it? Okay, so that's with Miami. Now let's shoot over to upstate New York, or oh, I'm sorry, Western New York.
It is Western New York, Bill. Don't offend the Western New York people.
But it's also upstate, so
It is
It is also
upstate.
And
upstate.
it's also the only team that plays in New York.
This is true.
True. Okay, the Buffalo Bills. We talked about with the Dolphins, what's been going wrong for the last 2 weeks, but what's been going right for the last 2 weeks in Buffalo?
I mean, run game is fantastic. 332 yards on the season, 6 touchdowns. But, you got James Cook picking up where he left off. He's already had 3 touchdowns on the year. Josh Allen has 2. Throwing a little Elijah Moore in there, has a touchdown already. The Bills are clicking early. They got a gritty win already. First week of the season, they came back against you know what? If what happens with Kansas City happens with Kansas City, and Kansas City crashes and burns, it's going to be Baltimore and Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. No questions asked. Those are the two other best teams in the league right now. You can throw San Diego in there with Herbert and Harbaugh. If they stay healthy, okay, they're in conversation. But after 2 weeks, you're looking at Baltimore and Buffalo in the AFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. But
Yeah.
Buffalo got the gritty comeback win. What they did against the Jets, the Jets are finding their place still. We'll go with the season. They should be 1-1 right now, but things unfolded with that. But Buffalo just has everything right going for them right now. The gritty win, the gritty win set the tone. The gritty comeback win set the tone for Buffalo, and they hit that firecracker and went off to the moon.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be I'm gonna say, yeah, James Cook, and Josh Allen. They have the Bills have a 71 combined points, the second most in the league. And James Cook is fourth in the league with 176 yards after a 132-yard, two-touchdown effort and a 44-yard score in the second quarter. And Cook has had 5 40-plus yard touchdowns run since 2022 and leads the NFL. And he is sixth in the league in rushing since the start of the 2023 season with 2,307 yards. Reg, what do you think's been going right in Buffalo?
Luck. The luck. I'm sorry. Look,
Folks, he's a salty Jet fan.
and no, I'm talking about the Ravens game, but the luck. I think the Bills are lucky that they ran into an opponent, one that isn't very good in the New York Jets, and two, they ran into an opponent got too cocky at the end and made mistakes, costly mistakes. And of course, whenever you make a mistake with the Buffalo Bills, they're going to pounce on you. They know how to bully your ass. So luck, because that first game, there's no way they were winning that game if the Ravens didn't make any mistakes at all, or they, made the right call on offense, or if they kick a field goal. Like, there's a lot of things where if the Ravens do everything right, the Bills don't win that game. But they got lucky because the Ravens got cocky. And then, of course, they ran into the Jets, just horrible. So that, and also you have the stud-ass quarterback, man. Look, the Buffalo Bills, there's a reason why they know how to win. It's because they have good coaching and a good quarterback to back everything up. That this is a team that is projected by so many to go to the Super Bowl with this offense. And of course, the defense went another level against New York the other day. So now they go to Miami, another inferior team. So far, looking pretty good. And, if everything keeps clicking, then this team's going to be very dangerous, especially with James Cook. That man can fly around the field like it's no one's business. He's so good.
You also look at Buffalo's schedule. If they get a win after tonight, they're actually home for the next two games too. They have a 3-game homestand, which is interesting. They got New Orleans and New England, and then they go to Atlanta to face, Michael Penix and company. And then they got Carolina. So after their bye week. So they kind of could start the season undefeated before they host Kansas City.
That is true. Mark, what do you think is going right in Buffalo?
I think Dan and Patch really put it together. A little bit of luck and a little bit of just amazing play. You got Josh Allen. He's being protected. He's completed better than 65% of his passes to start the season. He's meticulous, so he doesn't create many errors. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, which through 2 games is low for Josh Allen, especially the way he played. But the key other stat is no interception. He has been throwing a good ball and, putting up 271 yards a game. That being said, they've already talked about James Cook. I'm not going to double up on it, but he's a touchdown machine. And that's something Buffalo has needed for the years is a steady running back, and that's what James Cook provides. The big surprise is the emergence of Josh Palmer and how much of a great start of the season. You know, excuse me, 7 receptions, 108 yards. He'll find the end zone, maybe not as often as Coleman or Shakur or Kincaid, but Palmer's going to have a possible Pro Bowl look this year if he keeps this up.
Okay. So, will the Bills get over the hump this year?
When you have to face Baltimore, and Pat said it, that's your AFC Championship game. As long as nothing happens, gosh forbid, that's your AFC Championship game is Baltimore Buffalo. They faced Baltimore and just the way they played the other night, I don't know. It's going to be close.
It's two factors. Kansas City wakes up and smells the roses, and they get back on track. Kansas City's the threat. Baltimore is a threat. You can't throw out. Actually, you really can't throw out the Chargers now. The Chargers find it clicking. Outside shot if Buffalo finds themselves in a wild card game or divisional game against the Steelers. Just saying, you don't count out the Steelers, even though they got that bad man in Aaron Rodgers there. I will never count out Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers finds a way in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers could
I've
be
eaten
sneaky.
my own words, so I'm never going to say that either.
Yeah.
Reggie, Bills getting over the hump this year.
They don't. I don't know. Like the more I think about it, because I wrestle with this all the time, and I even argue with my man Nate Moser and
Nate Moser and Adam Reeder will be celebrated for 6 straight months.
Yeah.
Of course, Buffalo will party till kickoff.
Yeah.
The next season.
Exactly. And of course, a few of my other Buffalo friends out there, and I keep asking them, how do you really feel about Sean McDermott as coach? Like, and everyone's pretty confident. Confidence is high. But it's like, what is it going to take? Like, how much more heartbreak and misery can you take in the postseason for you to be like, maybe he just isn't it? Because as much as McDermott's been great and he has been absolutely amazing, you don't want another Cincinnati situation where they kept a coach for a very long time and he did absolutely zilch for the Bengals.
Absolutely.
So just keep that in mind, and hopefully things can change. I think if the Bills don't get over the hump, I think they'll be fine. I think they keep everybody. Of course, the offensive coordinator could always leave and get his own head coaching gig, which is cool. That happens to everybody. And that situation is not strange for Josh Allen. Like, he's been through it many times. We gotta see. I'm not putting a mandate for the Bills of any kind.
Do I think they're going to get over the hump this year? I'm stealing what Patchy said. It depends on if KC gets back on track. And I think even though they just beat them, I think Baltimore is going to be a big threat.
Yeah.
Like Patch said, you got to take a look at the Chargers. They're pretty. They've been getting off to a great start. So
yeah, you also just never know with the NFL. Year after year, we've seen, we had a strong NFC last year, but then a very weak AFC last year as well. Now we're seeing some AFC teams start to get stronger and stronger and better. So then now we're like, okay, well, is the competition going to be a little too much?
I will say this: I think Buffalo's going to run away with the AFC East.
Yeah, sure. But their competition really isn't with the AFC East.
Miami sucks. Sorry, Reg. Jets sucks. Patriots are rebuilt. right now with Mike Vrabel.
Right.
Jets are rebuilding with Aaron Glenn. So, yeah. Okay, X Factors. Guys, who's your X Factors for tonight? Let's start with the Patch Man.
X Factor, Josh Allen. Josh Allen has to get it going early.
Mhm.
Don't let up, and then McDermott needs to keep the foot on the gas. If they go up like 14-0 early, just put on the gas. Put up points. Who cares?
Reggie.
None of this.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
None of this. Let the foot off the gas. No, get full gas. Send it.
Mhm.
Now, what's your X Factor for Miami?
Tua. If Tua can get it going,
Mhm.
we're gonna have ourselves a game tonight. If Tua can't get it going, it's gonna get ugly quick.
Yeah.
Reggie, who's your X Factors for tonight?
For Buffalo, it's mainly keep going with this running game and then have Josh Allen just obliterate. And then because you can trust the defense. The question is, can your offense score you points? They can score on the Dolphins. As for the Dolphins, don't make the same silly mistakes the Jets made because they made the Jets eat everything from worms to the ground to their butts. Like it was pretty bad. So don't make any mistakes. Look, if it's a competitive game and you lose, I would much rather respect that for the Dolphins than to have a situation where they lose because they're making just awful mistakes, and of course the offense doesn't do anything.
All right. Mark.
For me, for Buffalo, I think Patch is right. It's got to be Josh Allen who's got to get it going early. He's got to take command of this team. Not to say he hasn't through the first two games, but do not stop. Go, go, go. You put up 60 points. Who cares? As for Miami, I think it has to be that offensive line. If that offensive line does not give Tua any time, you'll see Zach Wilson in the second half because Tua's going to be benched, or he's going to be out due to another concussion, which none of us hope. But that line better hold up or forget it.
My X Factors tonight, yeah, I would say the run game with James Cook, but I think a big factor tonight would be that I think Josh Allen's got to hit Dalton Kincaid, take advantage of this weak Miami secondary. Miami secondary is weak, so Josh Allen, throw it to Dalton Kincaid and take advantage of it. My X factor for Miami is going to be the defensive line, and they got to contain James Cook. They have to contain James Cook if they want to win this game. And okay, it is time for rapid fire. Um, okay, I'm gonna set the clock to 2 minutes. Hold on. Clock. All right, you guys ready?
Mhm.
Let's go now. Okay, which 2-0 team is the best? Reggie, who's the best 2-0 team right now?
The Eagles, hands
Okay.
down.
Patchman.
It's the Eagles. You got to win against the Cowboys at home, and then you go off to Arrowhead and win an Arrowhead against the three-time defending AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, you went into Arrowhead and won a football game. Best team in the league right now with 2-0.
Mark.
Buffalo currently at 2-0. I'm sorry, this team is too good. Screw the Eagles.
I'm gonna give a bit of an oddball pick, and I think Patchy's gonna like me for this. Green Bay. That defense is absolutely scary right now.
Sometimes a little change in scenery for a player is good. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That defense is absolutely terrifying right now.
And
Okay,
first round picks always make you happy.
which 0-2 team is the most concerning right now? We're gonna start with the Patchman.
No, to me, it's the Bears. It's not a non-biased opinion from a Packer fan to rib on the Bears. It's the Bears right now. The Bears just can't figure it out right now. No matter who's the quarterback, who's the head coach, it's the Bears right now can't seem to get it going with Caleb Williams. My opinion was going to be the Giants, but the Giants figured a little something out against the Cowboys last week. They just lost a gritty game in overtime. And I'll leave it at that. Oh, no, better yet, a kicker kicked their ass. We'll leave it at that.
All right, Mark.
For me, it happens to be the Houston Texans. This young team with a healed Nico Collins. I expected much more. Kind of surprised they start off 0-2. Look for them to turn it around.
Reggie.
Give me. It's a tough one. The Kansas City Chiefs, man. You mean tell me that there's no offensive weapons for Patrick Mahomes? He basically has to do everything by himself, and now you can't even trust Travis Kelce to make a catch.
Right through his hands.
As Taylor Swift would say, they're 0-2.
The Chiefs need to shake it off.
Shake it off. And they knew they were trouble when they walked in. If Sam, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, babe.
It's so cringe.
Anyway. But anyway, okay, no, I agree with Reg. I would say the Chiefs, because just news today, Pat Mahomes showed up in the injury report. He's having a wrist injury.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, but this team has been.
The team has been poor, but he'll be fine.
Yeah. This is not the Chiefs we've been accustomed to. Okay, which backup quarterback had a better performance last week? Mac Jones or Jake Browning?
As the crowd goes silent, that means nobody had a good performance.
I'm going to have to go with Jake Browning. The only reason why is Mac Jones has been there. Jake Browning was thrusted right in at the, in a split of the second, and he took this team and came out on top.
Browning because of the deficit and the injury.
Yeah, Browning got thrown into a situation where, sometimes when you get thrown in a situation like that, good things happen. We saw it with a few quarterbacks in the league.
I'm going to say statistically, I think Mac Jones had the better game. He went 26 for 39, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. But Browning coming in after Burrow goes down, I'll give him credit for that. All right. Predictions for tonight. Let's start with Mark.
Oh, I think this is going to be a very, very big romping by Buffalo. However, history tells us that Miami will play well, but I'd say 38-17 Buffalo.
All right. Reggie.
I'm going to say they'll get a 40 pop on the Dolphins. It'd be like 40-20. Let's add on to the misery of the Dolphins. But,
So is Nate Moser going to be rubbing it into Mike Rifkin's face tonight?
I think he already is. He already started.
I think he already is.
All right. Patchman, talk to me.
30-25 Buffalo.
Oh, you think it's going to be a close game?
Yep, because Miami's driving right now.
Okay, I'm going to say 30-17 Buffalo. Okay, that is our show for tonight. Thanks to the esteemed gentlemen here, Mark Olofsky Halpern, Danny Boy Reg, and the president of the network, Lawrence Patchman Lang. Thank you guys for being here. If you want to see more, go to www.sportsinsanitynetwork.com and check out our blogs, our history, everything. Check out our podcast available on all platforms. Check out our YouTube channel here, in which we have great shows like Thursday Night Gridiron, Sunday Sideline Report, and what else? I'm sorry.
Follow our socials.
Follow our socials. And also, we are sponsored always by the Dugout of Millwood. And don't forget to check out tomorrow the Mothership Pod Sports Insanity podcast with me and Danny Boy Reg. Thank you all for listening. I'm Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy for
Awesome.
Mark Old Ops Guy Alpern, Lawrence Patchman Lang, and Danny Boy Reginald. Stay safe.